Let's talk some Champions League. Champions League coming up in just a few days. I'm recording this on April 5th, Easter. So we have a couple days until the UCL, but I thought we'd talk about it. I actually originally recorded this video a few days ago, but there's been so much that has happened with a few of the teams that are still in the Champions League over really the last day, and I just think it had to be factored in before I recorded. So we're going to be re-recording here, but a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. First, let's start with the battle of the two giants, Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. This is going to be great. I really am excited for this one just because it's just the name value. It's Real Madrid, it's Bayern, it's two teams that have been here in these competitions, two teams that have played each other multiple times. I'm very excited for this one, and I think it's going to live up to the hype. I am favoring Bayern in this, and we'll get into why. But I also think Real Madrid have a chance because they are Real Madrid. It doesn't matter what's going on with the club, their form as of late. Real Madrid are still Real Madrid in the UCL, so you have to factor that in. First, let's start with Bayern. I think Bayern have looked obviously very good this year. I think they are the favorites for the Champions League now. I would have said maybe Arsenal could have contested with them, but I just think that they have been in more consistent form as of late, and we've seen what they've been able to do in the Champions League and in the league, in the Bundesliga as well. They've been able to do their thing, and I think now factoring into, from what we saw in this weekend, they have a crazy comeback. You're down 2-0 where you're not even playing a majority of your players, and then they come all the way back. That's fantastic momentum to have before you play Real Madrid. I think Bayern are going to be buzzing, and again, of course, they're going to have a majority, if not all, of their squad ready to go. And again, this attack is just so dangerous. I mean, Diaz, Elise, Kane. I mean, Kane is in some of the best form he's ever been in his career, and I think he might finally be able to have that pay off for his career. Obviously, he's won a trophy now already with Bayern. But to get this potential trophy and to get them over the line, I think it's going to be enough. And I just think this attack is going to be a little too much for Real Madrid. Curious to see, again, what happens with Bayern. But, man, I just think that this is going to be at least their two legs to win. We'll see how they do. But now let's get into Real Madrid. Real Madrid are coming off of a brutal loss against Mallorca over the weekend, and they pretty much handed La Liga to Barcelona, with Barcelona getting the win versus Atletico. So maybe that impacts them, but at the same time, in a weird way, I feel like I'm kind of coping here, just trying to find any reason for why Real Madrid would have not necessarily more of an advantage, but Real Madrid, this is their competition, maybe with the small chance of them not having to care about La Liga as much. Obviously it's still important, but maybe they can be like, oh, let's focus even more on the Champions League now, with there being, I think, a 7 or 8 point gap in La Liga. So that's really the only way I can look at it. But it's not really what you want to see from Real Madrid. I mean, again, Jude and Vinny and Mbappe are back, and even Milata, I think his name is. He actually scored yesterday, but he's back as well. Like they're a little bit more fit, and they still lose to Mallorca. Not what you want to see again, but I do think they can still at least make some noise in this leg. I'm not writing them off by any means. Again, the talent is still there. We've seen how good specifically Vinicius and Valverde have been in this competition, and I think at least for Vinicius, I think it could really continue because he just, I don't know what it is, he just turns up in this competition. But I think it's just not going to be enough. I think Bayern have been more of a consistent team from what we've seen this year, and I think they're just a better team, and I have to go with them. So score predictions for this, over 2 legs, I have Bayern winning 5-3. I think Real Madrid will put in a little bit of a fight, but I just think the quality of Bayern Munich's attack is just going to be too much. They're too clinical. I think Company has his team buzzing right now. I think it's going to be enough to get them over the line. Give me Bayern Munich over Real Madrid over 2 legs. Next, we have Sporting versus Arsenal, and this is where this gets a little interesting. We'll start with Sporting. Sporting come off that crazy comeback against Bodo, a massive win for them. That was huge for the club and just for their psyche, to show, hey, we can still continue to do this. We're, advancing in the Champions League. Honestly, I thought Bodo were going to win that, but they didn't end up getting it done. So credit to Sporting, they get it done. But I think the main talking point, and it's not to disrespect Sporting at all, has to be Arsenal. And when I had originally recorded this video, I was talking about how will Arsenal respond coming out of the Carabao Cup, and now we have even more questions after them losing in the FA Cup to Southampton in the fashion that they did. I really am curious to see what is Arsenal's mentality going to be into this game, because if you lose even the first leg to Sporting, it's just going to create more noise. It's going to create more noise. And I think Arsenal need to get this one over the line just for their psyche to continue what they want to do in the Premier League and obviously in the Champions League as well. But again, I'm very curious to see how are they going to respond. I mean, all these guys apparently were, getting pulled back for international break just to lose to Southampton. So you can't pull that card. Yes, Declan Rice, Saka didn't play yesterday, but still, like, what's going on here? I don't know. I'm a little concerned for Arsenal and just seeing how their form has been the last couple weeks. I mean, their attack is just so brutal. It's actually it's just rough. Gabriel also got an injury yesterday. I don't know how severe that is, so we'll see if he ends up playing on Tuesday. But I mean, it even showed yesterday. I know Raya wasn't in goal, and he will be for the Champions League, but Arsenal were able to get cut up. I mean, some of that defending was just piss poor. It's a championship side in Southampton, so I have to give Sporting at least a little bit more of a chance now than I did when I had originally recorded this video. I still think Arsenal will win just because they are the more talented team, and they really do need this. But this is not going to be pretty. I originally had Arsenal winning 4-1 over 2 legs. I'm going to go Arsenal 3-1. I think it's going to be ugly. Probably going to be pretty similar to what we saw versus Bayern Leverkusen, where maybe it's 1-1 after the end of the first leg and then Arsenal pull away at the Emirates. But it's not going to be pretty because when do Arsenal win pretty? They don't do that. Yes, Arsenal have been very good in Europe, but it's just with what's going on right now in the mental psyche, and they are still down a few players. I mean, you're not going to have Eze. I just have some questions for how are Arsenal going to respond. I still think they get it done, but this is going to be closer than expected. Next, we have Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid, and they actually just played yesterday as well. Barcelona ended up winning, and that might have just sealed them the La Liga title. We will see, but I thought it was actually a pretty evenly matched game, surprisingly, even though a few players were not playing for Atletico Madrid, but I feel like they gave Barcelona a good shot, and they always do. They actually ended up scoring first, but Barcelona ended up being able to get those 2 goals. The Lewandowski goal late was massive for what they needed to get done. But I'm very curious to see how this 2 legs goes, because we saw in the Copa, they were able to take advantage of the high line that Barcelona play and go up 4-0. And then they almost blew it versus Barcelona in the second leg, where Barcelona almost complete the remontada, but they don't. I'm curious to see how are they really going to tactically adjust since then. And then again, they played just a few days ago. It looked freaking chippy. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, guys were getting yellow cards, guys were getting red cards. It was all over the place. So I'm curious to see just how is this going to go. I think from a neutral standpoint, this is going to be a pleasure to watch. I see plenty of goals being scored. That's just what happens with these teams, and both these teams have plenty of attacking quality. I mean, again, you go over to Atletico, you see what's going on with Alvarez this year, and then you go over, of course, to Barcelona. You see what Lamine Yamal is doing. Lewandowski has been getting some better form as of late. It is a shame Rafinha is not playing, but there's nothing you can do about that. I have this being actually pretty highly contested. I have Barcelona and Atletico Madrid actually going to extra time 4-4. I think Barcelona either pull it out in extra time or they win on penalties. I think they will get the revenge for the Copa del Rey competition, but I think this is going to be a very evenly matched game. These teams know each other very well. It's going to get chippy, and again, there's a lot of high profile attacking football in this. I just don't see how this isn't a spectacle for the neutral fan. Last, we have PSG versus Liverpool, and just to be honest, I'm favoring PSG. I already was favoring PSG pre this recording, and that is being backed up even more by what I saw yesterday in the FA Cup versus Manchester City. I mean, you lose 4-0 to Manchester City. The vibes are extremely low for Liverpool, and I just think that PSG are getting them at a great time. Yes, there's a little bit of drama with this leg because, PSG ended up knocking Liverpool out last year in the Champions League, and, this is potentially Salah's last time ever playing Champions League football with Liverpool, but we just, I don't know. I just don't think it's enough. Also, PSG are getting a little bit of extra rest here and there because of League One. I don't know. I don't feel great about that, but it's an advantage for PSG. And I just think, again, PSG are just on better form right now compared to Liverpool. It's really night and day. And PSG's attack has specifically been so good these last couple times in the Champions League. And I just don't see enough firepower from Liverpool. I don't see the mentality from Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool go down 1-0 because of a penalty from Van Dijk, and it just all falls apart. I mean, why wouldn't that just happen again with the Champions League? So I see it being very tough, and I also just see it being extremely toxic in that second leg. That's at Anfield. If PSG are winning going into Anfield, I see it just being negative. There's no belief right now in Arne Slot, and you can see that within the squad, and you can see that within the fans. The Liverpool fans leaving early yesterday. I just see this not going well. I have PSG winning 5-2. I think they're going to be able to score on Liverpool, and I just don't see Liverpool having enough quality at this point, even though there's talent there. I don't see them having enough quality at this point to consistently outscore PSG in this type of game. Give me PSG. I have them advancing. I think this should be a great round of UCL football. I'm very, very excited. There's a lot of drama really for all these teams, a lot of high stakes for all of them. But of course, those were my predictions. We'll see how it goes. Let me know what you guys are thinking. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like. Again, drop your predictions down below in the comments section. My TikTok will be in the description down below. If you made it this far in the video, I greatly, greatly appreciate you, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, guys.